Welcome to Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning with Typical Monk, Class 1. What is AI really? You hear the word everywhere now. In the news, in every app, in every conversation about the future, and it is wrapped in so much hype that the simple truth gets lost. So let us clear the fog. There will be no code today and no mathematics, just a clear, honest picture of what these machines actually are and why they are suddenly everywhere. Here is the first thing to hold on to because it dissolves most of the mystery. Artificial intelligence is not magic and it is not a thinking robot with feelings. It is simply machines doing tasks that used to need human intelligence. Recognizing a face, understanding a sentence, recommending a film, driving a car. And the reason it works today, when it failed for decades, comes down to one shift we will build up carefully. Instead of a human writing every rule by hand, the machine learns the rules for itself, from data. Over this course, we will go from absolute scratch all the way to genuine mastery, one idea at a time. How machines learn, the kinds of models, neural networks, and the generative AI behind tools like ChatGPT in Hindi and English together. Today, the foundation, what artificial intelligence truly is, where it already lives in your life, how it learns, how all the buzzwords fit together, and where it is heading, one idea at a time. Here is the map of today's class, 6 ideas that turn AI from a buzzword into something you genuinely understand. First, what artificial intelligence actually is, the plain idea with the magic removed. Second, where AI already lives in your life. You use it every day, often without noticing. Third, rules versus learning, the single shift that made modern AI possible. Fourth, how artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI all fit together, because these words are constantly confused. Fifth, how a model actually learns, the simple loop at the heart of it all. And sixth, where AI is going and why now is the moment to learn it, one idea at a time. Let us begin with the most important question of all, and answer it cleanly. What is artificial intelligence? Really, the clearest way to understand it is to compare it with the software that came before. For most of computing history, we had traditional software. A human programmer sat down and wrote out every single rule by hand. If this happens, do that. If the number is above this, show that. The program only ever knew exactly what a person had explicitly told it. It was powerful, but it was rigid, and it could never handle anything its author had not thought of in advance. Artificial intelligence takes a completely different path. Instead of being handed the rules, it is shown lots of data and examples, and it works out the rules for itself. Nobody writes down what a cat looks like, line by line. You show the system thousands of pictures of cats, and it learns the pattern on its own. That single difference, learned, not handwritten, is the whole revolution. So here is the definition to carry with you for the rest of the course. Artificial intelligence is machines performing tasks that would normally require human intelligence. Understanding language, recognizing images, making decisions, creating things, work that, until recently, only a human mind could do. So the takeaway, AI is not a set of hand-coded rules, and it is certainly not magic. It is a machine that learns from data. Hold on to that one idea, because every single thing we study after this is just a deeper look at how that learning actually happens. Before we go any deeper, let me convince you that this is not some distant futuristic thing. Because you have almost certainly used artificial intelligence several times already today without giving it a second thought. When Netflix or YouTube lines up the perfect next thing to watch, that is an artificial intelligence studying what you and millions of others enjoy and predicting what will keep you watching. And when a Maps app finds the fastest route home, weighing live traffic across a whole city in an instant, that too is artificial intelligence, quietly solving a problem no human could solve that fast. When your email quietly sends junk to the spam folder, an artificial intelligence has read the message and judged it, learned from billions of emails what spam tends to look like. And when a voice assistant understands your question, or ChatGPT writes you a reply, That is artificial intelligence understanding and producing human language. Step back and the point becomes clear. You already rely on artificial intelligence many times a day. It is not waiting in some far-off future, it is woven into the ordinary tools you already trust. So the takeaway, artificial intelligence is not distant or abstract. It is already in your pocket, working for you, every single day. Which means, learning how it works is not preparing for tomorrow. It is finally understanding the world you already live in. Now let us look closely at that shift I mentioned, from writing rules to learning them, because it is the true dividing line between old software and modern artificial intelligence, and it is worth seeing side by side. On the left is traditional programming. You feed the computer your data and you also feed it the rules, the exact logic, written by a human, and out come the answers. If you wanted to spot spam, you personally write every rule. If it contains this word, if it comes from that address. This works, but only as far as your patience and imagination stretch, and spam changes faster than anyone can rewrite rules. Machine learning turns this completely around. You feed in the data, and this time you also feed in the answers. Thousands of emails already marked spam or not spam, and the machine works backwards to discover the rules for itself. It studies the examples and figures out the patterns that separate one from the other. Look carefully at what just flipped. In the old way, rules go in and answers come out. In machine learning, answers go in and the rules come out. That reversal is the whole idea in a single picture. So the takeaway, machine learning learns the rules from examples instead of waiting for a human to write them. And that is why it can handle messy, changing, real-world problems that handwritten rules never could. It keeps learning as the examples keep coming. Now let us untangle 4 words that get thrown around as if they mean the same thing: artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. They are not rivals. They are nested inside one another, like circles within circles. The largest circle, holding everything else, is artificial intelligence. The whole grand goal of making machines behave intelligently. Everything we discussed today lies somewhere inside this circle. Inside it sits machine learning, the most successful approach to artificial intelligence. The one we just met, where machines learn from data instead of being programmed by hand. And deeper still, inside machine learning sits deep learning, a particularly powerful style of learning that uses neural networks, which we will meet in a moment. Deep learning is the engine behind most of the breakthroughs you have heard about. And generative AI, the wave everyone is talking about, the technology behind ChatGPT and the image makers, is not a separate thing off to the side. It grows directly out of deep learning. It is a specialized branch focused on creating new content rather than just sorting or predicting. So the takeaway, deep learning is a kind of machine learning, and machine learning is a kind of artificial intelligence. And generative AI grows out of deep learning. They are nested, not competing, and now, whenever you hear these words, you will know exactly where each one sits. We keep saying a machine learns, but what does that actually mean? Let us open it up, because underneath, it is a simple repeating loop, and once you see it, machine learning stops feeling mysterious. It starts with data, lots of examples, and for now imagine each one comes with the right answer attached. This data flows into a model, which at the very start knows nothing, and is really just a bundle of adjustable settings waiting to be tuned. The model takes an example and makes a prediction, its best guess at the answer. Then, that guess is checked against the real answer we already know. Was it right or was it wrong? And by how much? And here's the heart of it. That result feeds back. When the model is wrong, it nudges its internal settings just slightly in the direction that would have been more correct. Then, it tries the next example and the next, predict, check, correct, again and again, thousands or millions of times. Bit by bit, those tiny corrections add up, and the model gets genuinely good. So the takeaway, a model learns by predicting, checking, and correcting, improving a little with every example it sees. There is no understanding in the human sense, and no magic, just this patient loop. repeated at enormous scale, slowly turning random settings into real skill. Now let us meet the engine behind deep learning and behind almost every modern artificial intelligence breakthrough, the neural network. The name sounds intimidating, but the idea is beautifully simple, and it is loosely inspired by the neurons in your own brain. On the left is the input layer. This is where the data enters. If the network is looking at a photo, each of these units might take in one small piece of the picture. They do nothing clever on their own. They simply pass what they receive onward. In the middle are the hidden layers. And this is where the real work happens. Each unit takes the signals from the layer before it, weighs them, combines them, and passes a new signal forward. Stacks several of these layers, and each one learns to spot something a little more complex than the last. The first layer finds edges, the next finds shapes, the next finds whole objects like an eye or a wheel. A stacking of many layers is exactly what the word deep in deep learning means. And on the right is the output layer, which delivers the final answer. This is a cat, or this word comes next. The network has passed the data through all its layers and arrived at a decision. So, the takeaway? A neural network stacks layers of simple units, and by learning across those layers, it builds up an understanding of patterns from simple to complex. That is the whole secret behind deep learning. Not one giant clever step, but many small layers, each learning its own piece. Now let us turn to the wave that put artificial intelligence on every front page, generative AI. For most of its history, artificial intelligence was about sorting and predicting. Is this spam or not? Is this a cat or a dog? Generative AI does something new. It creates. It starts with your prompt, a plain instruction in ordinary language, like write me a poem about the sea or draw a cat riding a bicycle. That prompt goes into a generative model, often a very large one, trained on an enormous amount of text or images. When that model works with language, we call it a large language model, the technology behind ChatGPT. And out of it comes something genuinely new. Give it a request, and it can produce flowing text, or an original image, or working computer code, content that did not exist anywhere before, assembled fresh from everything the model learned during training. That is the leap worth pausing on. Older artificial intelligence would label a picture, generative AI paints a new one. Older systems would flag an email, generative AI writes it for you. It moved from judging what already exists to creating what never did. So the takeaway, generative AI does not just sort or predict, it creates, producing new text, images, and code from a simple prompt. It is the most visible phase of artificial intelligence today. And in later classes, we will open up exactly how these large language models pull it off. Finally, let us place all of this in the bigger picture. What kind of artificial intelligence do we actually have today? And where is it heading? This matters because the hype often blurs the line between what is real now and what is still science fiction. Everything we have today is what researchers call narrow artificial intelligence. It is brilliant, often superhuman, but only at one specific task. The model that beats the world champion at chess cannot drive a car. The one that translates languages cannot recognize your face. Each is a genius in a single narrow lane and completely helpless outside it. What you see in films, a machine that can do anything a human can, thinking and reasoning across every subject, is called artificial general intelligence. And despite all the headlines, it does not exist yet. It remains an open research goal. And honest experts disagree sharply about whether and when it will arrive. But do not let that distant debate distract you, because here is what actually matters for you right now: narrow artificial intelligence. The kind we already have, is quietly reshaping nearly every job and every industry on Earth. That is not a prediction, it is happening today. So the takeaway, today's artificial intelligence is narrow, superhuman at single tasks, and already everywhere. And that is precisely why now is the moment to learn it. This course will take you from these first foundations all the way to real working mastery, one idea at a time. Let us gather the whole class in one breath so it locks into memory. Artificial intelligence is machines doing tasks that would normally need human intelligence. It is already everywhere in your life. Recommendations, navigation, spam filters, and assistance. Machine learning flip programming on its head. Give it the answers, and it learns the rules for itself. The words are nested. Deep learning sits inside machine learning, which sits inside artificial intelligence, and generative AI grows out of deep learning. A model learns through one simple loop: predict, check, and correct. Repeat it over and over. And today's artificial intelligence is narrow, superhuman at single tasks, and already reshaping the world. Next class, how machines learn, in depth, one idea at a time. The machines that learn. For decades, we tried to make computers intelligent by writing down every rule ourselves. And for decades, it mostly failed, because the real world is far too rich and messy to capture in handwritten logic. The breakthrough came from a single, humble idea: stop writing the rules and let the machine learn them from data instead. That is all artificial intelligence really is. No magic, no consciousness, just data, patterns, and an enormous amount of patient practice. From that one idea grew machine learning, then deep learning with its layered neural networks, and now generative AI, creating text and images and code from a simple prompt. It is already in your pocket, already in your work, already reshaping the world around you. From here, we build it all up properly, from scratch: how machines learn, the models, the networks, and the tools. Next class, we go deeper into the heart of it all: how machines actually learn, one idea at a time. Welcome to Artificial Intelligence.